With Black Clover chapters 377 and 378, the end of the tale of our favorite rogue wizard king Lucius, it begins to start coming into focus. The duo of eternal rivals, Asta and Yuno, they are finally here for their final battle with Lucius, and observing all of this is a certain supreme devil who is once again spectating the entire fight, just as he did with the battle against Lucifero way back in the Spade Kingdom. He reveals that all the Archangel Paladins, they have been defeated, and we get a montage of the various battles that have been going on where the good guys are just racking up W's left and right, and it impresses him enough that he begins to start wondering if Lucius had managed to see that far ahead, and it's our first major sign that Lucius is running out of options here. As Asta and Yuno begin their final push towards Lucius' location, Asta hands Yuno a quick bite to eat that comes from the food that Charmy made, which, as we all know, it gives a magic recovery property, and it's basically Asta and Yuno, if they were video game characters, this would be them taking a set of healing potions and saving their game progress before they enter into the final battle with the final boss. It's a smart move by Asta to make sure that Yuno's ready to go, because it is important to remember that Yuno has been fighting for an extremely long period of time against multiple high-level opponents. Asta by himself, he can't bring down Lucius, and vice versa. Yuno cannot bring down Lucius alone, but together, that's a different story. But in typical Shonen Jump fashion, Lucius isn't shocked to see the two of them standing before him, and what happens next once you get past the villain monologue is just downright diabolical. When Asta tells Lucius that for someone who wants to have an ideal world where people are happy, Sister Lily, she didn't look too happy when Asta saved her, and she was crying tears of regret and remorse for her actions, and as Asta's shouting at him, Yuno patiently watches the whole thing in order to study the response that Lucius is giving him, and we get two very big blows by both sides back to back. First, Lucius just gaslights Asta by telling him that everything that has happened, it is all his fault, because the people who are suffering are only suffering because of Asta. It's diabolical when you realize that Lucius saw all these possible future timelines where he won, and during that time, from his perspective, he made the ideal world that he's been talking up. But because Asta exists in this world using anti-magic, he's blaming Asta for any suffering that occurs along the way towards him achieving his vision for a peaceful world that he has been attempting to reshape. This leads to Yuno stepping in to give a verbal response, basically calling Lucius a spoiled brat who has a god complex, believing himself to be above humans, when in reality he's just like them, bothered by what he sees in the world but complaining when things don't go his way. He rightfully is calling Lucius out. He isn't building his ideal world for noble reasons. He's doing it out of arrogance and out of vanity. So what's very remarkable about seeing the two of them standing there together in defiance against Lucius is that they both represent on multiple levels a yin and a yang. Yuno is a yin with a strong and observant mind, and Asta is a yang, a strong body that is rival only by his strong will. They are standing before the Wizard King, someone who is corrupted by power and by the title that they each wish to use, since it is their dream to become a Wizard King one day. It's a multi-layered yin and yang representation. On one hand, you have rivals who represent a yin and a yang, and then on the other hand, you have the rivals standing together in unison against their darker counterpart. This leads to Lucius, for the first time, getting off of his throne and engaging in direct combat with the two duo of rivals that are charging forward, ripping through his attack, and ready to kick off this final battle against the Rogue Wizard King. However, he quickly shows them to not get too cocky with themselves. With the blink of an eye, he speed blitzes Asta and sends him flying with one attack, and when Yuno tries to catch him off guard with a sneak attack, Lucius prepares a counterattack to defend himself without ever having to turn to face Yuno, and does so in the span of a time that it takes Asta to land on his feet, and no sooner than he does so, Lucius has fired off a body compression, jets of blood, bone, bullets in order to snipe off Asta from a distance. If it isn't obvious by now about what he's doing, Lucius' entire plan is to try and separate the duo of rivals pretty early on. It's easier to fight them one at a time in spurts than to try to react to both fighters simultaneously. To use another video game analogy, let's say Lucius is the floor boss who has a level 100 and Asta and Yuno are both at a level 75. Lucius is able to beat both of them pretty much in a one-on-one setting with enough effort, but if they gang up on him and they time their attacks in just the right manner, they stand a chance at being able to eventually win the fight. And as we see in a moment, Lucius has good reason to feel this way and to want to so desperately break them up. While he's throwing down with Yuno, he's continuing to snipe bullets at Asta, who has begun deflecting the bullets with his sword, and he's rocketing towards Lucius. It's in this moment that Lucius goes from having the upper hand to quickly watching the advantages that he had begin to erode very quickly over time. They're attacking him on all sides, and he finds himself being baffled by what it is he's seeing. Yuno has wind and star magic. He is overflowing with mana, yet Asta uses anti-magic. They are literally, quite literally opposites. One is beloved by mana, and the other, for all intents and purposes, is hated by mana. Yet they are standing tall against him, and they're increasing their advantage over him. Lucius has gone from being on the offensive to being on the defensive. He's now flying backwards to get some distance, and the duo of rivals there continue to keep pressuring him, zipping through the air in unrelenting fashion. And that's when he realizes that not only is he being pressured, but they're doing such a solid of enough job that he is beginning to see that they're getting a rivalry boost as a result. As the battle's dragging out, they are one-upping one another, and it's happening at such an unexpected rate that he can't see the prophecy that he originally saw. And it ironically goes back to what he said about Asta. He is someone who is an anomaly in this world that he's trying to create, and he is unaccounted for. And as it is in real life, you can plan all you want to, but when life happens, those plans go out the window. Asta is why Yami and his sister were reunited, and Yami has awakened a new transformation. Asta is why Vanessa isn't sitting in a birdcage somewhere. Asta is why Noelle has become the strongest of the Silver siblings, surpassing even her own mother in power. Yuno is already stronger than he should be and is fighting alongside Asta. It has made him dig deeper into his soul to pump out more power, surpassing his limits to keep up with his rival. And this is where we see the unexpected, something even Lucius himself might not have foreseen. They made him bleed, and in particular, it was Asta who made him bleed, which is absolutely huge, especially with Asta using Zedin at the last minute to dish out the damage. That's a very poetic moment because it's basically the boy who Lucius looked down upon, proving that Lucius, for all of his god complex, is still a mere human. Yuno's words, they got under his skin, and now Asta's actions, they had caused the blood to pour out from underneath that skin with that one attack, and it's fitting. Gods do not bleed, proving that Yuno was right. Lucius is no god. He's just a self-righteous human being with a god complex. He is a narcissist. It's a perfect example of the yin and the yang aspect of Asta and Yuno's characters. To make matters even worse, Yuno has come down with a massive follow-up to his own attack to send Lucius crashing into the ground with that one attack, and we see the two rivals standing side by side, proud of their accomplishments because they're surpassed their limits and taking the upper hand against the rogue Wizard King, which is a huge accomplishment because Lucius is incredibly powerful. Now, I think we all can pretty much agree that Lucius pressing the Asta button in front of Yuno of all people, that was a massive mistake, because it basically gave the guy a mental amp, and that made the combo attacks that Asta and Yuno were dishing out that much more vicious as a result. The one thing that I do feel is a little bit of a letdown is the fact that all the other battles for the other characters, they were basically off screen, but from a pacing perspective, I totally get it. This would have dragged out forever if we would have had every single battle shown. You're not going to have every single fight shown in the final arc, especially when not all those fights have a narrative payoff for them. Just as, say, in Naruto's War Arc, there were fights that people like Kakashi had off screen with the 7 Ninja Swordsmen of the Mist. After you take down Zabuza, you don't really need to see the rest of it. And for Black Clover, we did, at the very least, get to see the fights that truly matter in terms of having the highest amount of long-term storytelling payoff, like, say, the Silver siblings taking down their mother and the Yami siblings teaming up with Noct in order to take down Morgan. While I can see some people getting upset over this cliche use of the rivalry boost, which it is cliche, I do think it works and does need to be defended here, given that we were told that Asta has affected this timeline in ways that Lucius didn't see in others. So it just makes sense that if he could push someone like Noelle way past her potential, then why wouldn't he be able to do the same thing for his rival, who he's known literally for his whole life? And out of everyone, Yuno should have gotten the biggest boost. That is a huge payoff. The only thing that truly sucks about this, in my opinion, is that we obviously have to wait another quarter to see this counterattack, and there's definitely one coming, because our final boss, he isn't going to go out this easily. To stick to the video game analogies to end the video, all Asta and Yuno managed to do is to take one health bar off the final boss that has a few more health bars that you need to destroy before you eventually take him down. But the fact that Adramelech is out there watching, like he did with Lucifero, it's our sign that maybe the end is coming here faster than we thought. While this is it for this Black Clover video, you can click here to check out more videos from Anime Explained.